Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. We are currently recording this webinar. Andy, I'll pass it on to you. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome everyone to today's webinar, using Anaplan and Akili connected planning to navigate disruptive forces in oil and gas. Alan, do you want to go to the next slide? Great. My name is Andy Grody, Anaplan account executive. This morning, I'm going to spend a few minutes to level set everyone on Anaplan before our customer from Apache, Devesh Desai. We'll spend a few minutes talking about the insights on the value Anaplan has brought to their planning processes. Then we're going to have Jason Sangwarn from Akili provide a brief demo of Anaplan. And we'll wrap with Alan Boyer, Akili president, talking through an example solution scope while taking Q&A. So let's go ahead and get started. Next slide. Anaplan is a cloud-based planning, modeling, and forecasting platform that helps companies drive a wide range of outcomes across the enterprise by connecting strategic financial, operational, and resource plans in real time. And that's key, and you'll see that in the demo today. Anaplan is the largest pure-play planning software company in the world by any metric. We have over 2,300 customers in 56 countries, servicing over 50 industries. The energy sector has seen broad adoption of Anaplan with customers like Chevron, Shell, ConocoPhillips, Repsol, Petronas, Apache, Marathon Oil, Phillips 66. The list goes on and on and on. The Anaplan platform is widely recognized by the analyst community as the most innovative planning solution on the market. In fact, a couple of years ago, we introduced the concept of connected planning, which prompted Gartner to introduce a new Magic Quadrant, Extended Planning and Analysis, or XP&A for short. Anaplan is one product. A single code base is now represented in 10 Gartner Magic Quadrants. Next slide, Alan. Thank you, sir. So simply put, Anaplan connects people, plans, and data across the enterprise. We often visualize Anaplan using a honeycomb. A honeycomb is an interconnected system, much like your business, where decisions you make in one part of the organization ultimately ripples through the other parts of the business. Our customers leverage Anaplan for planning processes in finance, sales, supply chain, HR, niche planning scenarios, etc., working seamlessly together like a colony of bees. Integrating the planning model inputs and outputs enables our customers to make better, faster business decisions. Now I'm going to turn it over to Devesh, and he's going to talk about his and Apache's experience with Anaplan. Devesh.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate the opportunity to join today and speak a little bit about our journey, and hopefully it'll help inform others as they kind of go down their own path. A little bit about myself. I've been with Apache for 16 and a half years, 15 of those in IT. Early on, my career was focused on the ERP side, participated in numerous implementation projects across the globe, transitioned to an early precursor of my current role in 2020 after COVID, and then that role has kind of expanded this year. Apache is an upstream E&P company with assets in US, UK, Egypt, and Suriname. To understand a little bit about our journey, I think a little bit of context is necessary. I kind of break down the Apache lifecycle into two phases, pre-COVID and post-COVID. We were a very different company pre-COVID. We operate under a regional model. Each region was responsible for itself. The goal, really, concentration was around increasing production and reserve growth. We did have a corporate planning function, but that was mostly in name. All the control really lied with each of the regions independently. with some leadership changes we had in 2015, there was a real desire to start implementing some reimagine and re-implement some new planning processes and functions and start centralizing the planning function, take some of that control away from the regions and bring it back to the corporate side. We had a variety of tools that we implemented to aid that process. I really started getting involved in 2017-18. We'd already partnered with a company that provided some of the other solutions on the planning side. And they had a solution similar to Anaplan that that provided the ability to create financial models. So we naturally decided to just expand that relationship in 2017 and 18. There was a very heavy reliance on the vendor subject matter expert to build out these models. And I'll say we struggled probably from day one. Some of that was internal when you put new people, new processes, incomplete vision. It creates a difficult environment. So not 100% of the issues that we experienced were on the solution, but from day one, the performance was lacking in the solution that we had implemented. And when you think about post-COVID, the operating environment for our industry shifted dramatically. Overnight, we had to be able to respond quickly to the market, model different scenarios, provide insights to management. All of that became extremely critical. If you remember, the commodity prices went negative for a brief period of time. We can no longer take days to generate a single scenario. You have to provide these robust answers that management was looking for almost on a daily basis. And our current solution just wasn't going to perform. So in Q1 of 2021, I started working with Andy to look at Anaplan. What I really liked about Anaplan was that, with a little bit of time, a little bit of training, my business users could develop the expertise they needed to manage their model. The user interface was really intuitive. There's a large user community and resources that they can leverage. Every time a small change needs to be made to the model, I don't have to go out and hire a consultant to make those changes. And it puts the ownership directly into the hands of my planning users. But having completed a similar project a few years prior, I wasn't just going to go straight to my CIO and ask for a budget to replace our current solution that we, again, implemented just a few years ago. That vendor was also marketing a new solution in the space that supposedly was going to improve on some of the shortcomings. So I had my team and the planning team spend about 4 months in mid-2021 really looking at working with that vendor, looking at our existing models, recommended changes, benchmarking the performance that we would expect in their new solution if we implemented it, and then compared that against Anaplan, to what we'd expect from Anaplan. And Anaplan was still superior. So the performance that Anaplan offers in the efficient calculations across the large data sets that comprise our models was just unbeatable. So using that data from working with the vendor, we kind of broke the project into 2 phases. Again, these things are very complex. I wasn't going to take on a end-to-end lifecycle project that would span multiple years. I really wanted we had some comfort that Anaplan would perform, but with the experience we had with the prior tool, I really wanted to test that out. So we chose our corporate models that our planning team was maintaining in Excel. We talk about corporate models like free cash flow, GAAP, debt, and we decided to use Anaplan to test out those models. That project wrapped up mid last year, and I can tell you the planning team has been very pleased with the outcomes. Almost every single one of our expectations has been met. Comparatively, they were able to reduce their full cycle time by over 75%. They can run various sensitivity analysis in minutes, changing various commodity prices, changing various cost components due to inflation, whatever they need to do, they're able to generate the outcomes in minutes. The quality of the data has been improved. The ability to run reports using the Excel add-in and have those feed their PowerPoint presentation has added a tremendous amount of value. Using all of that data at the end of last year, it really solidified the case that, hey, Anaplan was going to be our long-term planning solution for everything related to strategic planning and performance management. So we used that to kind of build the business case and work with the Akili team to do blueprint and design sessions. Tremendous relationship there. Not only their expertise of Anaplan, but just their industry knowledge, their ability to question some of the decisions that we were asking for. And I can tell you, I value that a lot, because a solid partner that not just does whatever you're asking, but points out, hey, if you do make these design decisions down the line, they could be a detriment to the performance. That goes a long way. That project we should have wrapped up by February next year. And again, the initial feedback has been extremely positive. Our planning team has been involved from day one, working side by side with them as they create these models, providing real-time feedback, tweaks, and has been a very fruitful partnership. So I'll turn it over to Jason, and he'll demo some of the capabilities that we have for oil and gas.
Hi, my name is Jason Sanghorn, and it is my pleasure to introduce the Anaplan platform for oil and gas. As a trusted advisor regarding Anaplan over the past 6 years and working in the enterprise planning space for 15, I've assisted oil and gas teams with understanding the value in leveraging a unified platform to combat the dynamic nature of the industry. First, Anaplan is cloud-based, so accessing the platform couldn't be easier via any one of the different internet browsers. Although very accessible via its cloud offering, data security and encryption is a priority for Anaplan. Now, guiding users along the process are pages or dashboards that can be easily configured to align to your needs. Whether it be dashboards capturing information at the corporate level, encompassing items such as debt, divestitures, global assumptions, or portfolio optimization, or asset level detail across items such as taxes, scheduling, capital, OpEx, or rig information. Anaplan can accommodate any level of detail that's needed to encourage connected planning. Anaplan's focus on connected planning allows us to incorporate roles across the organization. First, corporate focused on monitoring performance via KPIs, metrics, or quarter-over-quarter P&Ls, even visualizations. Anaplan's configurability can bring items that matter to the forefront for users. Anaplan's real-time engine allows for synchronization with interactive visualizations and a zero latency approach on any of the ways you slice and dice your data, really simplifying that ad hoc analysis. In addition to financials, Anaplan has the out-of-the-box ability to integrate qualitative impacts, such as corporate initiatives. Creating initiatives is something that can happen on demand and align to your go-forward strategy, whether it be a focus on ESG or ZBB. Leveraging Anaplan's real-time capability allows teams to quantify the impacts of including or excluding initiatives, unlocking Anaplan's ability to be that real-time decision-making platform. As we think about driving alignment among the field, we can leverage Anaplan's ability to also create a top-down target, in particular for our capital plans. To facilitate the top-down approach, our organizational structure from segments to business units to basin, field, and so on, based on cost of supply and other analytics, we can apply the appropriate growth from a top level, but also refine each subsequent level below via overrides, via percentages, or dollar amounts, all while maintaining that top level target we established earlier. This same methodology can also apply to our production plans, in which volume-based targets can be cascaded to our operational teams with the appropriate growth or lift, driving better alignment and minimizing that cycle time between leadership and operational teams. In addition to the target setting process, we may also want to explore more corporate-related activities that could impact our go-forward strategy, such as debt optimization. Existing debt tranches as well as new ones can be integrated into dashboards for analysis, encompassing that granular detail such as principal amounts, terms, interest, and amortization schedule. These details can help provide visibility across the financials. And what if we want to understand the impact to paying down some of the existing debt? By simply checking the appropriate box, we can understand that impact in no time, having our teams spend less time modeling these out in Excel and more time for analysis of scenarios. In addition to debt analysis, we can also manage our equity side of things, as we may look at issuing dividends, exploring stock issuance, or repurchases to get a clear understanding of EPS. Strategically, we may transition to shaping our entire portfolio by leveraging inputs such as working interest, commodity pricing scenarios, corporate policy changes, or assumptions around debt taxes. Using these inputs, we can plug them into Anaplan's optimization engine powered by Gurobi to help us determine the most effective way to optimize for enterprise value. We can create, manage different scenarios with varying outputs, and ultimately promote a scenario we can find and analyze the financial output. We've spent some time on the corporate side of things. Now let's look at how Anaplan can accommodate asset level planning. From an upstream perspective, we first look at a landing dashboard for teams to help manage, plan, update their assets. Any type of attribute information, working interest, or including them in specific scenarios, we have the ability to capture all that relevant asset information. Also, working interest as an example can be something we attribute at the project level or could be inherited from the field, basin, or asset level. The flexibility is there within Anaplan to enter in information anywhere in the hierarchy. Next, from a project or asset level expenses, we may leverage an input form that allows the flexibility via dropdowns to plan capital accordingly and view that gross versus net expense across a 3, 5, 50-year time horizon. Additionally, we can take a driver-based approach to CapEx and develop a per well cost that calculates in real time as we plan for additional wells. For operating expenses, users are provided with the flexibility to determine fixed versus variable cost across different expense categories, and even leverage the appropriate variable, whether it be production or any other type of driver, for those variable type expenses. While initially focused at the asset level, Anaplan also accommodates department level planning. A dashboard configured for the department planner to manage their expenses and also have the visibility into a target established by corporate, giving them real-time variances against the target, which helps eliminate the back and forth we typically see. Managing workforce planning, leveraging Anaplan's innate ability to connect to any type of source data, can provide person-level planning where we can drill down and see the full burden for each employee and make decisions on things such as termination with the impact provided in real time without the need of a save button, batch process, or waiting overnight. Transitioning back to asset planning, production plan volumes across our different products can incorporate various decline curves, whether they be sourced from a third-party source such as Aries or Intersight, calculated via Anaplan using harmonic production rates, or manually inputted. Anaplan provides flexibility when it comes to production. Base production volumes can also be accommodated in this case from a source file, which can be automated or loaded on demand to properly reflect well asset production. Point and click load experience for data, so no need to burden IT or use outside consulting. As soon as the data is loaded, during that time, all related calculations are also completed. So no subsequent process needs to be run. Data is ready to be reported and planned upon. From a reporting perspective, fully integrated economics that are ready to be reported upon at any level within the organizational hierarchy, including the well level. All formulas, calculations can be drilled upon to expose not only the natural language calculation, but also the underlying contributing values to the calculation, providing that full transparency versus a guessing game on how things are calculated. Additionally, drivers can be changed on the fly to create different scenarios among drivers with real-time outputs. Unlimited amount of price decks with different cases can be loaded, created as needed, really to reflect those market changes or upcoming events among our different products. Those price decks are again integrated into our asset economics and can be applied via a dropdown, and in real time reflect its impact down to our net cash flow. So no more spinning wheel or overnight batch process. We can quantify our pricing impacts in real time. We can also take the next step and compare each of those scenarios against each other via the pivot function, similar to a pivot table in Excel that enables that drag and drop layout changes on demand. Scenarios with an influx of capital, additional rigs, boost in production can now all be pinned up against each other for further analysis. Items such as well count can be also categorized amongst owner-operated versus operated by others to streamline reporting requirements. And for those pixel-perfect reports, Anaplan's management reporting provides a dynamic alternative to PowerPoint in which slide-like material can come to life among different drop-downs to modernize reporting and eliminate the static nature of most reports. Further sensitivity can be categorized among the different types of drivers. So as we're trying to understand what's volume related, what is price related, capital related, and so on, we can now quantify the impacts to each one, or in aggregate, its impact to metrics, economics, all against our base case, both from a data grid and visualization perspective. As you can see, Anaplan offers a comprehensive platform that allows organizations to quickly adapt to ever-changing market dynamics. By leveraging Anaplan's planning capabilities, oil and gas organizations can also enable more informed decision-making capability, all on a real-time platform.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. So let me change screens on this. There we go. Yeah, so this is Alan Boyer with Akili. Really apologize for the voice today. Sinuses are killing me. So sorry about that. Also, as I get started on this piece, I want to remind you, if you have any questions, feel free to drop those questions in, and we'll address those maybe as I go through this or when we get to the end. I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to cover a couple of customer overviews of companies we've worked with in the last couple of years with Anaplan solutions, and both of these customers are in the upstream space. What I really want to highlight is the different types of usages of Anaplan that we have. It just can't stress enough how flexible it is and how much we can fit to particular problems that customers have. This particular customer, a lot of data sources coming in, a lot of data coming into this. We have an idea called the data hub, where we bring all the data in from all these other sources and kind of harmonize that data and bring that data together, validate that data, and then use that data throughout different planning use cases in the model. So what you see here is some of this Jason showed you, such as debt and tax, hedging, basic G&A and those kinds of things, ultimately bringing all that together into that output that he was showing you, the free cash flow. This is an example of a lot of corporate type stuff that we were doing that incorporated some asset data, but also getting down to gap reporting, doing their typical budget and plan type data, and ongoing outlook with them, and then a lot of other miscellaneous ad hoc type analysis that the customer does. Um, they saw the customers talked about cycle time reductions that range anywhere from 50 to 75%. I mean, so significant times. Um, this this data piece is a significant deal. They spend a lot less time trying to accumulate all that data, gather all that data, get it all into one spot where they can actually use it. And they're certainly not managing that data across a bunch of spreadsheets, which is what most customers spend most of their time doing. So they're spending their time, less time on the full planning cycle and data loads, and more time in the planning cycle on the analytics. They've also commented that they used to have about 9 people that would work across asset teams on price updates when the management team would ask for some pricing sensitivity analysis, and it could take dozens of hours with that many people to get that done. They now have 2 people working less than an hour to complete that, and again, that means loading the price decks, validating everything, seeing all the output, analyzing and calculated. Again, there's no process to run to do that. It's real time in the system, but they've seen that magnitude of change in what they're doing in the basic corporate FP&A kind of analytics that they work on. The other one I wanted to show you is a customer that we did this project for them several years ago. Basically, what they wanted to do, this is a very, very large multinational upstream firm, and they have assets all over the world. And they wanted to bring in the assets long range planning data into a model that would let them run a very dynamic set of what they call cases, which is just a set of large sets of assumptive changes, and understand what that would look like at asset levels, at regional levels, and what that would look like at a corporate level. And so we brought in all of this data from each of these asset teams in a lot of different formats coming in, brought that into Anaplan. We also gave them the ability to run what they call manual opportunities, and that would be M&A type activity, or possibly even just looking at different investments within some of the assets and what that would look like. And then they could do all kinds of sensitivity analysis. This is a really small set of things they might look at, but they might look at rig allocations, and do they want to move rigs between assets? Do they want to increase rig allocations to an asset? Pricing data obviously was part of it. Capital allocations, what if we put $200 million more into this asset? What would that mean? Those kinds of things. They then took that and they could run a lot of scenario analysis against those different cases and understand and all the significant KPIs, how those changes and those assumptions, how they would impact their business from a very long time horizons. These were 50-year time horizons, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and do all of the reporting on a full set of reporting on kind of the things that we were talking about. Ultimately, the team that worked on this would come up with a few base cases they would send to their corporate team that aggregated all this together into longer range plans and strategic plans, and would use that to inform management. They have talked about the key benefits to them have been significant reductions in just the FTE levels required to support the planning cycles. They're now not really very reliant on IT at all. Really only if they want some data out of another system within the Anaplan model, they're very sufficient, and they support themselves in their cycles there and their changes there, and just significant reductions in cycle times. They've indicated to us, and what they've shared with us is that they just have, their management team has a lot more accuracy and visibility in that data, and the ability to provide that data to their management team and react to. Devesh talked about this, and although all of you do deal with it, we've talked to a lot of oil and gas firms over the years. You're just constantly dealing with what's changing in the market or what's changing within your own business that you need to react to, and you need to understand if these things happen, what is that going to mean to us, and what are our options, and how are we going to move things to try to adapt to that. So again, a couple of different examples here of what we've seen a few companies do. You know, we see a lot of different things. We've seen some stuff in midstream as well, that just project management, just looking at capital projects and like capacity planning, margin analysis on gas processing, things like that. So it's definitely not limited to the upstream space. This is just where we see a lot of applications just because of the analytics and the agility needed in those analytics and planning in that space. This customer, just like what Devesh was talking about and kind of the path they've gone down, we are now currently in a project with them to start building LRP models for those asset teams so that this gets fully automated as well and out of Excel, and we'll load into this model and kind of support even much more faster cycle times across not just what the corporate groups are doing, but what the asset teams are doing as well. So the other thing about Anaplan that's significant is just that ability to support that ongoing evolution and change in your planning cycles and connecting those pieces where it's highly valuable and relevant. So that's our core presentation today. Wanted to check and see if we have any questions. I think one question we had was around the duration of these projects. You know, what do these look like? You know, for us, what we see with a lot of companies we work with, if we start with corporate FP&A, those tend to be 3 to 4 month projects, you know, on the lower end on our engagements. But on the bigger projects, even something really big, like I think Devesh talked about his project, it's a good sized project. There was a lot there, as you could see. I think we probably went 7 to 8 months on that project, but that also included some breaks around the holidays, around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then we had some times where we were pretty quiet with the corporate team just due to quarterly close and all the reporting that exists, you know, that's always there that we have to deal with when we're working with the corporate FP&A teams and the asset teams that work on the periodic forecasting updates and budget cycles. So, you know, all told, it's probably 6 to 7 months, you know, maybe 6 months of duration really to get it done for the actual work, but some slices in there that were a little bit of downtime. So, you know, there's always a variance just because of the use case and the involvement of the team and just the size and significance of it. But they're not big teams. These teams are relatively small from our side. Project manager, solution architect, and a few what we call model builders who do the configuration and integration if we have a significant integration component. So that's a typical team for us, even on a large engagement. So it's very nimble, and that's just because of the capabilities of Anaplan and how quickly we can configure it and model it. Yeah, so that's the answer there. Devesh, I think there was one other question that seemed to be related about adoption. Most people, I think, you know, I talk to customers a lot. And they struggle with we build it, but it's hard for the teams to adopt to it. What would you say about how the Apache team adapted to the business team adapted to using Anaplan?
Yeah, so the key to that is getting them involved early, not only through the design decisions, but as you go through your sprint cycles, make sure they're actively involved, providing that real-time feedback. Depending on where clients are coming from, you know, we were coming from a solution that was really cumbersome. So giving them something from the get-go where they can see ultimately the destination, I think was very beneficial because they can see how much they were going to benefit as they partnered and partner with Alan and his team through the journey. So getting them involved as early and as often as possible just really lessens that change management effort. And I can tell you, we've had no adoption issues. Some of that's obviously based on the fact that they're looking forward to the efficiencies they're going to gain, but also just the fact that Alan and the team did a really good job including them and including them in every single sprint cycle and eliciting that feedback every time there's any questions on build decisions.
No, that's awesome. Thank you, Devesh. And Devesh is actually referring to the process that we use to configure things in Anaplan. And because of the nature of Anaplan, the modeling is can be done really quickly. And we literally, within a couple of weeks of working with them and every customer we work with, we start showing them completed components in the system. And we just keep iterating through those components throughout this process in that really highly collaborative way that he was talking about, so that we make sure, we don't get to the end and have a lot of surprises. Everybody has seen things by the time you get to that final testing to put it all together and sign off on it. So I think it does help a lot with change management. I think it also helps with, more quality when you get towards the end of the project as well. And we found it to be very, very beneficial with our customers. Okay. I don't see any other questions at this point. If we don't have anything, we'll wrap it up. We all appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for attending. I hope you found this interesting, and more importantly, I hope you found it useful. And if there's anything that you need to follow up on, we will send it. We are recording this, as you know. We will send out the recording to all of you. But you can also reach out if you have questions. You can reach out to Anaplan. Andy's the best contact there at andy.grote, Grote at anaplan.com, or you can reach out to me, A. Boyer at Akili.com. So again, thank you very much. I hope you all have a great day and have a great holiday.